Is it something in the water or, growing up into an insurance family? Yeah, I was talking with Jonathan Crystal, and should bring him on the podcast as well. He's a third generation, and he also sold his grandfather's business, and he's now mainly focusing on investments. He started Crystal Ventures. Very similar story to what um, uh, Parker from Mark Ventures did. Same thing. Third generation, the grandfather started to buy out family members that everyone wanted a little bit, but he was super driven. But one of the point that Jonathan mentioned is like, yeah, insurance takes time. It has its stability, but we understand it. And it took my grandfather 40 years to build the value of the company in the book, and took my father more, and then it took me to build it more, until we reached a point that it was good to sell. It, I find that, understanding of long-term investment and building value a little bit foreign to what we see today. How was the, how the family approach to that? Well, how did your family approach, or your approach to selling a fourth generation value creation? Good. Okay.
Never planned on selling. Like when I bought the agency, I was like, I'm going to be here till I'm old and crotchety, right? You can be an insurance agent and die in your chair. My mother's first boss literally did. So,
No kidding.
no kidding. So you can be in insurance for a really long time and just live on the renewals and not do a lot. Honestly, those aren't the best agents. I don't want to be that type of agent. I don't think anyone listening to you is that type of agent. They're active, they're engaged, they're learning, they're trying to be better for their customer, right? Um, so I knew that I wanted to be in this for a long time. And my dad always said, hey, you're going to get emails. I used to get at least an email a day or two emails a week being like, I'm ready to buy you. Let's talk. And about twice a year I would just answer one and be like, yeah, sure. Tell me about it. And most of the time it was terrible. It was like venture capital backed. They were, and nothing against venture capital backed, but they were very specific type of person who was trying to purchase the agency, and they just cared about the book of business and the numbers and the retention, and they didn't care about the people that were the base of everything, right? It's your employees and your customers. Like these are the people that make the business what they are. And they didn't care. And then I actually took a meeting that surprised me, and I felt like, wow, these people are pretty freaking amazing. I would want to work with them. I haven't said that about any meeting I've ever taken from these purchasers before. And so we went forward and looked into it. Um, and it was a win-win-win. So it was a win for my employees because they get new things that I couldn't, as a smaller agency owner, offer them. Things like career growth or expansion into different areas in the industry that I just didn't have available based on our size. It was a win for my customers. They actually get more carriers and more products and, better support than I could do all by myself as well. And it was a win for me and my family. My dad was really able to step back and actually mentally kind of say, oh, I don't have to work every day. I can have a retirement if I choose to. And I was able to continue growing in my career in a new way. So it worked out.
And you are now with which company acquired you?
Yeah, it's
OneDigital.
OneDigital. Yeah.
And what is OneDigital and what do you do for them?
I mean, right now I'm a managing partner. I sit at my office. My background back here is literally my office.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still sitting in La Pine, Oregon, and running my office just like I have in the past, and then working with them to grow bigger. So one of the things I like about them, it's not just insurance. I do a lot of reading and education, and one of the books I read, I literally have a sticky on my desk. It says, what are you going to do over and above for business owners than anyone else? And OneDigital, I think, lives that. They don't just do insurance, but they do employee benefits. So they're taking care of businesses' employees. They have an HR team that takes care of the employees and the business, depending on what side of HR you're on. And then they also have wealth management, so 401ks for employees as well as for owners. So if you're not offering a 401k or some sort of plan to your employees, which is a great benefit, and you should throw that out. There's a team here as well that can help that.
I like the agent story because usually in InsurTech people think that most of our conversation is in investors, the corporate side, many the InsurTech entrepreneurs. But in the different conferences, mainly ITC and InsurTech Insights, we're actually trying to build that voice of the agent because that's the base of the insurance that every InsurTech new startup keeps failing on. It's funny enough, I just came back from New York from moderating the panel of what's the future of InsurTech, and kind of the title was InsurTech 3.0. What is it? And we kind of, that was InsurTech 1.0, 2.0, etc., and broke it down, different KPIs. What does it mean? What were the main trends? And now the new forces that kind of shape the 3.0. And no matter what, especially the beginning, the original wave, including the -1, which was just aggregators, they were all, we don't need agents anymore. We're going to disintermediary everything. We're going to go direct. And then you had in 2.0 and now 3.0, which is kind of following the same. There are overlapping waves. It's not one started and then stopped, then another one. There is overlap. And all of them, it's like, oh no, it's all about agents. It's we see more and more innovation and venture capital that entering the broker tech and agent tech and trying to empower that middle layer that is so essential. And one of the key elements, every time that I meet a new insurance company or an InsurTech startup, my first question to them is like, have you secured your distribution? Do you know how to sell insurance? Because if you cannot sell insurance, what's the point? Why are you starting a new MGA? Why are you launching a new carrier? How are you going to do that? And I find it a vital element in the space. And I know that I'm mumbling and I'm actually here to interview you and not just to hear my own voice. So I'll try to segue it back to more reasonable topic and conversation, which is company valuation and M&A. Because while talking about agents, most of them, as you mentioned earlier, getting that once a week email, it's like, hey, I would like to buy your book of business. Or are you selling your agency and still want to run, right? I had panels with Cordia, with other Acrisure, etc., big brokers. Everyone is trying to do some sort of a small or a big roll-up. Why did you decide to go with OneDigital? You've seen so many different offers on a weekly basis. How did you
But
start with that?
the people. Like, I know it sounds simple, but I have to work with these people and I spend a lot more time with them than my family, unfortunately, sometimes, right? I'm here a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was about the people. I was like, these are actually people that I think are trying to do good things for my customers and their customers. They're trying to do the right thing for their employee, who would be me if I joined them, which I now am. And they're trying to do like they're trying to do the right thing. They're good people. They're striving to grow. Yes, like we're trying to use these new amazing tools that are coming out, just like you said, like the different AI tools and all of the different softwares and everything else. We're trying to use it. We're trying
No,
to be,
no. I was smiling because I thought it's like, how do you explain in AI what what is good people? But yeah, please
yeah.
continue.
No, just good people that I'm working with, like every day. It's the other agents in the room. It's the other agents I get to work with. It's the people from corporate who care and want to make sure that we're doing our best work by giving us the tools available. I guess we're all part of the AI wave because we're all trying to
We are like
like
the
learning. We're
previous.
all learning.
We are all learning, and AI is a tool. It's a tool, and as we are looking at different tools for efficiency, and I hope that you'll dive in a little bit more about the different processes, and we'll get a little bit. Because my day job, I'm very curious about how was the acquisition process and due diligence, and you started talking about why you decided to go with them, and automatically it's like, if we are taking that and removing the feeling element, or how do you measure a culture, and it's like, and everything can go and run on AI, we remove the people, which that's not the point, right? We still like
Yeah,
we still
I don't think
really like
anybody's
people.
good. Yeah, we still really like people.
Yeah, we still like people. How it's like, how AI measures good people? It's like, no, it doesn't work. It's the same
No,
thing.
it takes what we give it and then spits it back at us. I mean, very concisely,
Yeah.
a lot of times. Yeah.
It's like, I need to submit a claim here, and AI sends you like, here is a shoulder to cry on. No, it doesn't work this way. It's sometimes you need someone to go like, I'm sorry, here is a shoulder. We'll try to do it best for you. So decided to go. How was the process?
So the due diligence, you did bring that up. Obviously, that's a very large part of it. Um, I am part of multiple groups, and I would suggest if you're an agent and you're not part of some sort of like mastermind, to join one. I was part
Mm-hmm.
of three. I learned a lot from those three. I have seen multiple agents already be acquired, and a lot of the due diligence that they had to do were things that I was doing anyway. So, tracking your sales, tracking your, I know this sounds really simple. It's really just having a year over year spreadsheet, right, of every single P&L you have and what months are good and what months are bad and how much you made in the last 5 to 10 years, all
What do you
laid
mean?
out.
You're required to follow. You're
I know.
required to follow your seller. We
You
can
should.
all.
You
Yes.
should have all of this. You should, but for some reason, apparently not everyone does. So I had all of that. I had all of my carrier information. We use a tool called InsuredMine, and we used AMS 360. So those were our two big pieces of software. Both of those could track exactly what I was making from every single carrier, all laid out nice and pretty. I knew more than just my top 10. I know, crazy. And you could kind of see what segments we earn the most from, which is things that we tracked anyway. Like how you should, if you're an agency owner, you should know how many policies you have and the average premium and commission per policy and all of the things. But I had it all and it was very easy to get. So all of that was very simple. Um, I would say for anyone that's looking into going this way, having all that data is something easy to get, or it should be easy to get, and then having it easy to pull and share. Um, Excel form. Everyone wants Excel. We haven't moved past Excel.
I had so many people that are claiming I have the Excel killer. But then we can argue that it goes to a database and most likely SQL, so it will be in different tables anyway, but less approachable. But it's but yeah, that's a conversation mainly that goes under underwriting. Then let me show me your book of business. But we earlier kind of mentioned you have the AMS. Actually, before that, which groups were you part of? I assume Big Five, I5, and something else, or
For masterminds,
yeah.
I did. They were all smaller. I
Hmm.
did one with Michael Jans, which is the $1 million mastermind, and then we did one with um, I can't think of it.
So not
It's okay.
agent networks.
No, they're like agent networks. They were just smaller.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, not familiar with them, but happy to learn about something new every day. That's
Yeah.
important.
And like because when you have an agency owner come in and you have all the agency owners together, you get new ideas and better ideas and you learn and grow. So I got a lot of really good ideas from other people in those groups and we're able to take them and do them in our agency as well.
So let's start with one of we kind of mentioned earlier and going back and forth here. So you have your AMS 360 or Applied or Evans or whatever the different solution that you have there. That one gives you the quotes, the relationship based on you're working with this wholesaler or directly with a certain carrier appointment. But then you said, yeah, and I have my CRM.
Yep.
How
So
critical is it? Because in my mind, do I really need a AMS? In my mind, the CRM should actually have everything. I just need better bookkeeping.
you would think, yeah. I think for a long time, this is like for a long time in the 1990s, 2000s, right? A long time
It's been
ago.
like 30 years. It
Yeah, it's
has
been a
been.
long time.
Yeah.
Like you had to have a management system, and for a very, very long time, people did it with paper and filing cabinets. So you had paper and filing cabinets for a super long time, and then we were like, let's move this to an online place or a place on a computer. And so we put them in AMS systems, and you Vertafore and Applied, right? Those are the two of the hugest ones we've got, and everyone used
The
that.
two gorillas, yes.
It's the two gorillas.
Yeah.
And so we used them. And then pretty much after that, it was just kind of like anything else you added either had to talk to it or was completely separate. And for a long time, they didn't talk to anybody. And then slowly they started to talk to more and more partners, however they call them, like their orange partners, like approved partners, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they started to talk to each other. And depending on what system you use, some of the systems kind of glob on, they would buy a tool and glob it on and be like, look it, we did this for you too. And others would be like, we're going to build it from inside and make it really slick. Depends on what side you pick. The AMS by itself just isn't enough. But I would say the majority of agencies that have been a really long time just use the AMS, and moving that data to just a pure CRM is a lot, especially because you'd have to have, again, the bookkeeping on the back end and then all of the insurance specific, like we need to create an accord. Let's create a cancellation request. I don't know of a customer management system that has that built in yet for insurance companies.
Are you kidding? Wait,
Which
just
one
for
is it?
cancellation
Well, more
or
like the
amendments
accords.
or
The
right?
accords.
Oh, the accords. Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
accord
Not like the
forms
cancellations, yeah, but accord forms.
accord forms is always, I have a debate. A good buddy is also part of the Trucordia and the accord board. He was on the accord board. Now they're trying. I'm not 100% what's going on with accord. I had in the past couple folks from accord. Oh my god, I'm drawing blank now. Anupam he's the chief product for Applied. But I didn't talk with him about Accord. One of the biggest challenges, and there were a couple, as you talk in the industry, there are all kinds of politics and all kinds of different groups. It's been back and forth about Accord because you need to pay, they want the standard, but you cannot use it, you can use it. There was like a couple of different philosophies on how to open or how not to open it. Yeah, it's
this is one of those, it used to be on paper things, and
well,
it's
you
been
can.
around for so long.
It's been on XML now for a very long time, but why the
Okay.
hell is it on XML? You can do it JSON, then format it back to XML or whatever painful format that you want to use. But it's more about the philosophy of if you are the standard and you have this full organization, non-for-profit that makes money, it needs money to operate. But at the same time, the standard is a challenge because you can always say, hey, we don't really want every new startup and every new carrier to create a new API because they are losing their code, but we are the standard, and now everyone needs to customize their API and go like, yeah, but anyway, you need to customize that API call. So, and they have their
I'm
own underwriting
expecting,
process.
yeah, I
So,
think eventually it will change. Like, honestly, it will. But like right now,
it will change to
it's,
which direction? It's keep fluctuating back and forth. Well, within the interval of insurance, which is
yeah.
once every 5 years. But now it's a great question. So, how are
Yeah.
you
So,
using your CRM?
yeah. So we use our CRM for customer relationship management, like communicating with the customer in a preemptive way. So instead of just having the customer call and be like, why'd my rate go up? And you're like, I don't know. Guess we have to shop, which is tends to be how it happens. Um, Unfortunately, we try to be more proactive. So we try to do the touch every renewal every year, but we don't want to do it manually because we have lives to live and insurance to sell. So we do it using tools, just like you would anybody else, right? Having
Exactly.
automatic, yeah, having the automatic renewal go out. Once we get the indication from carriers on what we think the renewal premium is going to be, we have automatic emails based on high, nothing's changing, low, changing. Like, do you have any changes? Are you a business? Do you buy more vehicles? Really simple, basic stuff that every insurance agency should be doing. I don't think they are because we get customers all the time that are like, "This is the first time I've ever had an insurance agent ask me if something changed this year or tell
They
me that
are,
it's going to." I
but
know.
that's the ABC of being an
It,
agent, and I actually love.
I
I
agree.
love the fact that you bring that because as an agent, your job is to provide your added value, not going direct, is to be the advisor on the gap and the risk coverage. So you as the agent asking those basic questions like, hey, let me ask you a few questions so we can discover if there is a change in coverage. And we need to make sure that that risk is covered. That's kind of like,
It's 101. I know,
yeah,
but we get busy, and us agents just love the new shiny business sale. We sometimes we forget that we have this
no.
beautiful book of business.
But to renew is the best time to keep making money.
Exactly.
No?
Yes,
Please
it is.
correct
I
me.
agree.
I'm not an
No, I
agent.
agree.
I
I
started
agree.
my insurance career on the tech of the carrier. So that's I'm all my knowledge about agencies is from having these conversations and you know hearing horror stories and success stories from other agents.
Yeah, no, we think it's the 101, but it's hard to do without the right tools. So making sure that we have those in place, it's something super simple, but every renewal, everyone gets touched. And then, of course, the last couple years have been pretty rough. I think everyone knows this. You yourself have probably had your insurance rates increase just in, let's say, the last 5 years. Maybe they doubled. In some areas, for our areas, they tripled, right? So it made more work for us as agents, but getting in front of it so my customers weren't calling me screaming mad, like being like, hey, this is coming, and educating our customers, not just like once a year on renewal, but we constantly are emailing them and sending them content and giving them different ways to receive that content, whether it's like a newsletter or a short video or things like this. A podcast gives them more data so that they're not surprised, because I think our customers get surprised and that's when they get mad, right? It's a claim story, isn't it?
Yep.
A claim story is if you understand how the claim process works, or you understand how the insurance product works, you're going to have a better claims experience than somebody who doesn't, just because you have that knowledge.
No, that's actually very good because okay, we can touch about claims because I I would say I have a low EQ, and I can kind of imagine the frustration or feeling burned by the fact that the cost of coverage went up. So you say video stuff like that, but how do you communicate it in terms of, what's the content within those video or explanations? Like, listen, buddy, I'm sorry, but you used to pay 1,000, now it's going to be 2,000.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just education, just like we're doing here. I listened to your podcast and I learned something new. Same thing, right? A lot of it is saying, okay, things have changed. I'm in Oregon. We're in a wildfire area,
Oh,
similar to
yeah, me too.
California or Washington, right? So what has happened in the last couple of years? There's been a lot of wildfires. There's been a lot of claims, and these aren't little ones. These are like taking out entire communities, wildfires, as we know. And they aren't $1 million claim, like, events anymore. They're $1 trillion
Yeah, the
events. Yeah. And it does. Like, yes, something that's happening in New York, in Oregon, we're going to have different things because each of the insurance is based on the state, right? By your insurance state commissioner. But as a whole, the carriers still have to look at the whole picture and say, what is the risk here? How much can we raise the rates to make sure that we can stay afloat and take care of those customers that we protect? I mean, look at California. There was big headlines for 2 years, like State Farm cancels $700,000
everyone,
policies, right? Why
they're
did they
leaving the
do
state.
that?
Yes,
Why
and
did they
going
do that? A whole bunch of reasons, but they need to make sure that they have enough money to take care of the people they insure. And some of that comes from premiums. And some of the premiums can be raised based on state requirements and who's running your state. So it gets very interesting very quickly. A lot of those conversations, um, you know.
how much can the agent or the broker actually doing on the prevention side? Because does it help? Do you have any
Oh
role in
yeah,
it?
I believe prevention helps. Yes, I think if you've ever, so Talent Oregon had a pretty good fire a couple years ago, and one of the stark things that you noticed was all these houses would be burned down in a neighborhood, and then there'd be like one house standing there just fine. You'd be like, what did they do? Like what? Like why was that house saved? Some of it's just luck, honestly, but others of it is they were probably firewise. Maybe they didn't have any, fuel debris in the first 5 feet around their house. So we talk about this all the time in my community. The first 5 feet, there should be nothing that can catch your house on fire, and that includes like nice privacy wooden fences or stacks of firewood or planters with cute little plants in them. None of it. First 5 feet, like gravel, real boring. Then after that, it can be cute, but you don't want any ladder fuels. You don't want the cute little flowers around the tree that
Oh
goes
man, I
up.
love that.
I know, not that. You can't have it. Get rid of it.
Why? Now you're
Why?
forcing, yeah, no, now you're forcing me to adapt some sort of a Japanese rock garden,
Yeah, sure.
which is not bad
Yes,
actually. Yeah,
which is
I
not
can.
bad. And
Yeah.
depending on where you live, like Arizona, the people in Arizona are like, yeah, duh, why would I ever have a lawn or anything that grows, you know?
Wait. First of all, Arizona, they have more golf courses. If you ever, I
Yeah.
think
Oh,
that
yeah.
every time that I have
Ton of golf
someone from,
courses. Yeah.
every time that I have someone from Arizona, my first question is explain me the golf situation there.
It's beautiful.
And that's it. Yeah, man. We get the water from, I don't know, the Colorado River, and that's it, done.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of people who like to play golf, and it's nice and it's hot, and it's done. That's it.
Yeah. We got a ton of snowbirds in our area. I know. They go down, they play golf all season and come back up.
That's how it works.
That's how it
So
works.
prevention, any technology that align with that prevention side, IoT,
There's
stuff
like
like that.
some coming out. I don't think anything's foolproof. Like, let's, but there's sprinkler systems you can install onto like your roof and things like that. And then once it gets to a certain heat, like if it has a trigger,
Mm-hmm.
sprinkler systems will go off to go over your entire home. There's different foaming technology that can be used. And insurance agencies or insurance companies actually employ people to do this depending on the,
I know
the
that.
value of the home. It's not perfect and it's kind of messy.
I the reason I'm asking that I see it on cutting edge. I'm not sure how cutting. Let's call it cutting edge, and I see usually they're trying to sell it to the carrier, and I don't know if it cascades down or propagates up. Really, it really depends how you see the stack of the insurance industry, what is built over what. And then it's a question, at the end of the day, the agents are the one who are in touch with the policy holder. Do they get it? Do they see it in the end of the day? Because one of the things we talked about fire. So apparently eucalyptus trees are horrible. The sap is super incendiary. So you need to remove it like that. Exactly.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah,
now, we have a few trees here that we have battles with the HOA of how can we trim them or remove them, because first of all, the HOA will go like, yes, they will give us a nightmare. We cannot plant any new trees. But at the same, and so to kind of overcome that, we just put like in big pots, kind of trees, all kinds of midget fig or something like that.
yeah.
At the same time,
Still acceptable and beautiful.
and they have
Yeah,
fruit, which that's what I like about trees. But we still have not eucalyptus, but some sort of big trees that are overshadowing. It's great for shadow, wonderful, but at the same time, they can burn the entire neighborhood. And I live in a very nice neighborhood that we don't really want to see it burn. And then so that's for basic. And then there are all kinds of the new cool technology that we have, from leakage detection, gas leakage detection, whatever
yeah.
detection
The
that's
what, like the
supposed to,
water, the
yeah,
electrical one that you plug in and tells you if you have an electrical pulse, and
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Fluctuation in the magnetic, because of the current that changes and the pressure, that tells you if you have some sort of a water leakage in one of the pipes, because water damage, it's all about the carrier. Now, all of these beautiful technologies, do the agents see it? Are they familiar with that?
we have to be, yeah, and it's different based on carriers. So like a good example is auto. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe 10 years ago nobody tracked your auto driving, but now if you've got insurance, chances are you've got some sort of app that's tracking your driving so that you can get a good driver discount, right? And depending on the carrier, they all have their own plans and their own app and their own plug-in. If you have a plug-in, some of them plug in, some of them don't, some of them are apps. It's all different. All of them have different amounts of discounts they give based on, if it's a teen driver versus a grandmother versus a 40-year-old.
Yeah, and I'm
It's
always how big the economic incentive is for me to provide too much information about my private life.
100%. It's the number one thing I hear from my customers. It's the number one thing I hear even from my agents. I'm like, guys, you got to offer it. It could be, a good 12, 15% discount. And they're like, yeah, but people don't want to be tracked.
We
Get
started
it.
to talk about so many different topics here, which
I
we
know.
kind of take it back to the M&A value proposition. But actually, when you approach it, how the company, okay, so you have your AMS, you have your KPIs, it's very easy to measure the book of business, but what else is important when a OneDigital or a PE firm, anyone wants to buy an agency?
It's the people. They don't just buy the book of business, they're buying you. They're buying the owner, they're buying the owner's number
But the
two, they're
owner is
buying the
going to be
top agent.
retired.
Look at me, I'm not going to retire. I'm I'm young. I'm not a classic agent, but yes, like there are some of us out there that are not 70 and selling.
Well,
Yeah.
a few of them.
Um, but
Please.
like, yeah, they're looking for the manager. If it is the 70-year-old dude selling, they're looking to see who's like the number two, who's the guy like selling the most. It is not easy to hire right now in the insurance industry because we have so much incredible knowledge retiring.
Yeah.
Um, and so finding anybody in this kind of like they're like, hey, they're buying to hire too, right? They're getting the best of the best if they
Mhm.
can.
So, what's the secret of keeping a good book of business? What are the different processes that you have in place?
Retention. Just like I told you earlier, I know it sounds
CRM?
simple, but
No, it's not
having the
simple at all.
CRM, like making sure you're communicating. And I think that preemptive for us is a big thing because no one likes being called and yelled at. So preemptive communication, clear communication, honest communication. Don't hide the premium increase. Just tell them it increased, right? They don't want to read a 15-page email. They want it in the
Yeah.
first line.
We cannot
We
read
all,
more than that. It's a
yeah, and then, after that, it's just being consistent in your community and building the right type of customers coming to you. Like like for us, I'm not looking for someone with an SR 22, which just means they don't have the best driving record. That's not my customer personally. Now, somebody else it could be,
Mhm.
but we purposely create an environment online and in the community that people know who we are and what we do. So we have like a couple niches that we specialize in. One of them is wildland firefighter contractors. We insure wildland firefighters that contract with the federal government to fight fires. We sell more of those policies than anyone else on the West Coast, just period. We write those. So those people know they can come to us and get good coverage and a knowledgeable agent and understand their specific needs of their business. Same thing with water utilities. We do fire and water. Who knew? We do a lot with privately held water utilities. We know what their risks are. We've insured enough of them. We know what's happening. And I think a lot of agents always feel like there's competition, right? We always have to fight for every last policy. I don't think that's the case. I always feel like there's enough for all of us, and all of us are good at something. And so we can pick what we're good at and be really good at it for that entire group of people, right? Even your podcast, you're like, I do insurance tech, or I talk about insurance, right? You didn't pick everything. You didn't say, you didn't say, I'm doing this for everyone. You're like, you're good at this.
Yeah, and this is why I keep telling people my audience is very precise. I may be bold, I maybe do martial arts, but I'm not Joe Rogan. And I think that my sense of humor is even worse. But before I ask you the last question, let's take it to the InsurTech folks. As an agent, or actually the way that you see it, right? What's the one thing that InsurTech has gotten right, or is gotten wrong? Whatever feels more comfortable for you.
I think InsurTech is getting a lot of things right in the way of help. Like, I feel anyway, the things that I have been given to use is they're taking away some of the very manual things that we have to do and trying to make those easier, whatever that is. At the same time, there's this huge section that's still not solved. And it goes all the way back to the beginning of the conversation, kind of when we talked about the AMS. We are still, on the majority of the time, manually putting stuff in that filing cabinet and then keeping that filing cabinet running strong with our downloads and our download reports of when they didn't download correctly because someone actually mistyped one letter on a name. And I know, just these little cuts for keeping everything in our beautiful filing cabinet. I don't think anyone's fixed that yet. It's still very
Verified autocorrect. Well, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I
I know it sounds
I've been
really
there.
silly. Yeah,
It's
right?
not. It's not. Cheri, let me ask you the last question. Sadly, we are running out of time, so let me ask you the last question that I'm asking everyone. What is something the insurance industry should be talking about more that is not talking about enough?
I'm a CIC as well and a certified insurance counselor. So I just did a class on the updated Accords. This is fun.
No, it is.
For the GL. And one of the things surprised me there, and it kind of made me think, talking about AI and how much my agents and me are using it day to day now. They're updating the insurance coverage so that, and this is going to be standard, that anything that is produced by the AI would not be insured. And I don't think our customers know that, or even half the agents know that. And that made me think, so how are we ensuring like a marketing piece of material that comes out of AI and then is published by us? It's not going to have the coverage under the GL. It's got to come from the cyber, but I've sold multiple cyber policies and a lot of the cyber policies aren't covering that either.
So funny. No. It's not a funny topic, but it's so funny because coming back from New York, I was talking to 3 new up and coming AI, how you call it? New MGAs. No, so new MGAs that cover AI liability. That's the new product. AI liability.
Good. Thank God, because I'm sitting here going, oh shit, a lot of people are just going to not know. And it already went into effect in April 2026. All these people are just running around.
This is great. I wish we could elaborate more on that in terms of liability and what does it mean. The same thing like cyber, which is kind of an umbrella to all kinds of different other products that fall under business interruption and here and there and wire, blah, 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 blah.
But it's not right. So. Yeah. So that's good. I want to know those people's names. Give me those people's names. I need to call them. I feel like things are moving very quickly, and insurance is really great about. People always say insurance is slow, but we're not. Look at there was a gap, and someone filled it.
Yeah, they are trying to. It's a few of them are, I think, like only in 3 states they have the okay, maybe 10. It takes time because it requires, and of course, they need to be backed by. It's very hard to get the fronting company for that and other things, but all of that will be on a different episode. Cheri, thank you very much for joining me today. It was a pleasure chatting with you.